Hi everybody, I am Jay Shady, also known as the Voice of Reason, and I just want to do a little video here. I just woke up, but I want to do a video, as you can see from the title, on my favorite wrestler slash superstar of all time. I don't know if I mentioned who my favorite was in comments or previous videos, but I want to just dedicate a little video to that subject right here. So I started watching wrestling the summer of 1997. I remember my brother. He's the one that got me into wrestling. My brother was watching wrestling way before that. He's my older brother. And he showed me my first wrestling match, which was Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon. And I was just blown away by the athleticism and just the entertainment aspect. The stuff that these guys were doing. I'd never seen anything like this. Shawn Michaels doing the splash off of the ladder, falling off the ladder, then using the ladder as weapons. Just great storytelling, and I even recognized it as a kid how great this storytelling was. And from that point on, I was hooked on this wrestling business. And it was all because of Shawn Michaels. I believe that was my brother's favorite wrestler at that time. I don't know if it still is his favorite wrestler of all time, but at that point, from there on, all of a sudden, my idol was Shawn Michaels. I just loved Shawn Michaels as a little kid. He was my, the reason why I started watching wrestling. I remember my brother giving me a Shawn Michaels action figure that I still have somewhere. It was Shawn Michaels with the turquoise Heartbreak Kid pants that he wore when he faced Razor Ramon at the rematch, the ladder match rematch at SummerSlam. And I was just, that was it for me, I was on board with the WWF train, and it was all because of Shawn Michaels. And then especially when DX came around, that was when they got me as a wrestling fan for life. That's when everything in my life was about wrestling. Like, all I wanted was Monday nights to come one after the other. I wished every single night was Monday night so I could watch Raw, so I could watch the DX segments. And it's funny because I was around when DX came out. I was 7 years old, and I was loving this controversial shit. I was loving this badass, bad guy, delinquent shit, which WWE is scared to do these days for the little kids. They're scared that little kids are afraid of bad guy stuff, if they're afraid of controversial stuff. But that's what I loved about wrestling as a 7-year-old. I loved the heels. I love the people that weren't, being shoved down your throats as being the ultimate good guys. I love the people that were being badass. Now, that might have been a product of the 90s because the 90s was just such a more gritty era and just a more delinquent-ish, disillusioned youth type era than we are in today. Today is a very squeaky clean type, politically correct era. So I don't know if it's just the fact that I was a kid from the 90s, compared to a kid from today. But I still don't agree with this notion that WWE has that the kids are going to hate everything that isn't ultimate good guy, superhero type garbage. And in fact, I hated that. That's why I loved DX. That's why I was a huge Shawn Michaels fan. When he was cutting promos saying, I didn't do it for the fans, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about any of the fans. I was like, this is fucking awesome. I don't think I said fucking at the time, but I was like, this is awesome. And, going after that, Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14. I remember watching that match at my friend's house. She was another big wrestling fan at the time. Her father was a huge Stone Cold fan. I hated Stone Cold because he was going against Shawn Michaels. At that time, I had, a limited mindset. I cared about my guy, whoever was feuding with my guy. I hated his guts because this was real to me. I remember vividly watching this match at her house, just hoping and praying that Shawn Michaels would win, and then Stone Cold got the stunner, 1, 2, 3. And I'm not gonna lie, I was 7 years old, so I don't care. It was fucking 15 years ago. But I cried like a little fucking bitch when Shawn Michaels lost to Stone Cold. Because this stuff was real to me. I felt like I just saw my idol just genuinely lose, genuinely die, and lose the title. I was crying. They had to calm me down. You know, that they were telling me that it's just this scripted sport. It's not real. It's all planned out. They were trying to calm me down, but I wasn't having any of it. But yeah, I was, and then Shawn Michaels left, and I was like clueless what to do with my life. I thought, you know, I was having a midlife crisis. But later on, as I got older and I got more advanced in the mind, I was able to respect Shawn Michaels on a more grand scale. You know, what a in-ring worker, the best in-ring worker of all time. This guy just made everybody look good in the ring, no matter who it was. Especially in his later career when he wasn't worrying about his ego, or, you know, he wasn't being conceited and being a total dick like in his younger days. He came back. He didn't worry about having a title. You know, he didn't want. WWE and Vince McMahon wanted to put the title on him more, but he didn't want it. He was over that. He figured he's a legend now. He should help put over the new talent. You know, and this is what I can't stand about people like John Cena, who are reaching, you know, the later portion of their careers, who are still trying to hog the spotlight. Whereas, you know, Shawn Michaels, one of the most egotistic guys of all time, even in his later career, started being selfless and started worrying about putting over young people. You had him, you know, having feuds with guys like Chris Masters, helping out a lot with the rise of the young stars in Evolution, putting them over in a great way. Putting over John Cena at WrestleMania 23. Just great comeback. A great comeback for Shawn Michaels, just because what he did for future stars of the company, even if they didn't become stars and even if they didn't deserve that rub. But Shawn Michaels, his wrestling work, this guy was a great seller. He could make anybody look powerful. I mean, it's just hard to find a really bad Shawn Michaels match. No matter how much lack of talent his opponent has, he always makes them look good somehow. I mean, Shawn Michaels could have a wrestling match with a frying pan and get a 5-star match out of it, and I'm not even exaggerating. This is legit. I mean, especially when you pair Shawn Michaels with another wrestling great in the ring like Kurt Angle or somebody, or Ric Flair. It's like one of the greatest matches of all time. Yeah, Shawn Michaels, just great matches, one after another. Really missed WrestleMania, and if you look at his WrestleMania record, it's a losing record. He has a lot more losing matches at WrestleMania than winning matches, but the fact that he just steals the show, mostly every match he's in at WrestleMania is the show stealer. That is why he's called Mr. WrestleMania. You know, I remember watching Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels Part 2, and part of my childhood died when Undertaker ended the career of Shawn Michaels. You know, I was begging Shawn Michaels to win, you know, because I just did not want to see my childhood favorite lose. And the Monday, the night after, when he gave his farewell speech, it was just a part of my childhood dying, you know. So many years idolizing Shawn Michaels, like basing my childhood character off of Shawn Michaels. You know, I took it into like real life, like as a 8-year-old kid. I was doing the suck it in my little league team, you know, being cocky, being arrogant, very Shawn Michaels-esque. But just a great career, great matches, and I don't think the wrestling world will ever have another in-ring worker like Shawn Michaels. That being said, I want to move on to my favorite superstar of all time now. Yeah, I consider them two different things. Wrestler, to me, when I think of wrestler, I think of somebody's in-ring work, their match quality, what they're able to do in the ring, what they're able to get out of their opponents, how they put people over. When I think of superstar, I think of the entertainment they give, the buzz they give, the hype they give, the aura of their presence, and the aura of their character. And when I think about that, I think about Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's ironic. Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold, watching that as a kid, you know, I saw my idol, Shawn Michaels, die at the hands of Stone Cold, and I hated Stone Cold. But, you know, 1-2 months later, all of a sudden, everything in my life was about Stone Cold Steve Austin now. And that is a testament to the popularity and the pure entertainment aspect of Stone Cold Steve Austin. To, as a kid, make me forget what he did to Shawn Michaels and all of a sudden be Stone Cold's #1 fan. This guy, when he came on the scene, you know, the Austin 316 era that officially launched after WrestleMania, the night of WrestleMania 14, it was just amazing. Beating the shit out of his boss, drinking beer, doing whatever the fuck he wants, raising hell every single Monday night, stunning people left and right. It was just impossible for me not to get into it. Especially somebody who hates the ultimate good guy Hulk Hogan type bullshit that the WWF was doing right before I came along. Watching those old videos, I really couldn't take it. And this was just amazing to me. I just, as a kid, you just felt like you were living vicariously through that person. Like, I felt like I was Stone Cold in my life. I felt so badass. I just wanted to stomp a mud hole in everybody. And everybody loves Stone Cold. You know, I can remember in school, everybody having the red Austin 316 shirt with Stone Cold's bloodied face from WrestleMania 13 when he was in the sharpshooter. And I think it said like "No Mercy" on the back of it or something like that. I forgot. But man, I was crazy about Stone Cold. Just such an entertaining force. And if it wasn't for him, you know, where would the WWF be today? I can't even imagine. You know, I think it would have been a lot less popular than what it is today. You know, I think the Attitude Era would have been nothing compared to what it was, the fact that Stone Cold was there. I mean, he is the guy that single-handedly just started crushing WCW. WCW was, you know, taking the ball and running away when they formed the NWO. If it wasn't for Stone Cold, you know, would WWF would have been able to overcome WCW? I don't know. Nobody can tell, but man, I remember, you know, buying a bunch of Stone Cold shirts. I still use my smoking skull belt in my videos. This guy was just, you never knew what he was gonna fucking do. Great fucking catch lines, raising hell left and right. And, you know, for what Hulk Hogan was to the kids and the people in the 80s, that's what Stone Cold was for the kids and people in the 90s like me. He was what made wrestling popular. You know, I know everybody wants to say that, you know, The Rock and did a lot for the Attitude Era too, and yes, he did. I give The Rock a lot of credit, but Stone Cold was the guy who initiated the ball running. You know, Stone Cold is what put the WWF on the map before The Rock did. You know, when you Stone Cold, the guy who started it is the one you have to see as the main guy of the Attitude Era. Just amazing shit. You know, bringing out the beer truck, bringing out the Zamboni, stunning Vince McMahon, saving Stephanie McMahon, you know, when the Undertaker was going to sacrifice her, crushing the DX Express, putting cement in Vince McMahon's car. It's just the best of the best from the Attitude Era mostly revolved around Stone Cold. He highlighted all of what was great about the Attitude Era. And, you know, I just miss having a character like that. Nobody just creates must-see TV, appointment TV, shocking moments the way Stone Cold does. And it's a shame, because when Stone Cold would do something, I remember I couldn't wait. This was one time where I actually loved school, and I couldn't wait to go to school so I could talk about what just happened on Monday Night Raw, you know, at the lunch cafeteria, you know, during our lunch period. Man, you know, if Stone Cold ever comes back, you know, I would love Stone Cold to come back, but at the same time, I hope he doesn't, because what they're doing with The Rock now, making him so watered down PG, I worry that that's what the same thing is going to happen to Stone Cold. He's just going to be a watered down PG version of himself, and I just do not want to see that, because Stone Cold should always be a rebel, badass, cursing, showing the middle finger, drinking beer, beating the shit out of everybody. So there you go. There's my favorite wrestler / superstar of all time. Shawn Michaels, the greatest in-ring worker of all time. Stone Cold, the greatest persona, the greatest figure, character, and the most pop culturally relevant figure to me in the wrestling world of all time. Besides Hulk Hogan, but I just grew up with Stone Cold, and Stone Cold just was a lot more realistic to me than Hulk Hogan. That's why I gotta give Stone Cold the extra point, because Hulk Hogan was all about saying, eating your vitamins, saying your prayers, all this superhero type bullshit. Stone Cold's like, fuck this shit. Let's do some gritty reality shit. And as a kid, I saw through that bullshit of Hulk Hogan, and I ate up that gritty reality shit because like I say, I think kids in the 90s were just a lot more badass and were a lot more complex and developed in the mind than these 2013 kids. So there you go. There's my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know who's some of your favorite wrestlers / superstars of all time. If you consider wrestler and superstars to be a different thing or the same thing, let me know who are your favorites. I am Jay Shady, the voice of reason. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.